Hello, and welcome to the info webinar for Strategic Language Revitalization Planning, or LRP, presented by the First Peoples Cultural Council. My name is Amanda Ost. I am the Program Associate for Language Revitalization Planning here at FPCC, and I am here to support you on this journey. This webinar is for you if you are applying to the Language Vitality Grant with FPCC and you're wondering, what is LRP? Is it for you? Or maybe you are in the early stages of creating a language revitalization plan. To begin, I would like to acknowledge First Peoples Cultural Council is grateful to have our offices located in the beautiful traditional unceded territory of the Wasanich Nation people in the village of Wachotlup. And we are grateful for speakers who hold on to their languages and the language champions who are planning for the future of your language. So thank you. What will you learn in this info webinar? This webinar is an introduction to language revitalization planning, kind of like an LRP 101 session. The goal of this session is to help you to decide if LRP is right for you. In this session, we will go over what is strategic language revitalization planning, why is LRP important, why develop a language revitalization plan, and how might it benefit your community, and also where to find resources and supports for LRP to support you on your journey, and also how to prepare for LRP, including what you need to consider when applying. So what is language revitalization plan development? FPCC has offered funding and support for the development of language plans since 2010 in various formats. We believe that with strategic, long-term language plans, communities can revitalize their languages in a strategic way. Language plans support communities to access funding by demonstrating capacity and self-determination and mobilize the community's vision of language vitality. We know that language revitalization is most successful when it's community-based and includes multiple language strategies. To support this, FPCC Language Vitality Grant provides funding for BC First Nations communities to develop a strategic, comprehensive, long-term language revitalization plan. Funding is accessed through the Roots and Grow level of funding categories. In addition to funding, FPCC also offers extensive training, resources, peer-to-peer sharing, coaching support on language revitalization planning. LRP is designed in phases to be adapted by each community to fit their own unique language circumstance and context, as each community may be starting from a different stage of planning. Whether you are just starting language revitalization journey, establishing your language team, or if you are ready to build on previous work and start implementing more detailed long-term strategies, LRP will help you get to where you want to go. A language revitalization plan guides the work of language revitalization in a community over several years. It provides a strategic roadmap for how a community will achieve a united vision for its language. For the purpose of FPCC grants and working towards flourish-level funding, we are looking for language plans that cover a term of 3+ years. A language plan is developed by community for community. It states where you are now, where you want to go, how you will get there, and when you know you have arrived. FPCC's vision is to support community through comprehensive plan-based funding. Plan-based funding supports communities' self-determination, ensures that funding matches community priorities, and addresses the administrative burden of numerous projects that are associated with reporting requirements, applying to grants year after year. So how is developing a language plan different from implementing a language project? A language project is typically a single activity, such as forming a language nest, recording project, developing a curriculum. Language projects are short-term. They have a start date, an end date, and a near-term goal. They're reactive to challenges and responsive and seek funding year after year, and they could be taken on by individual language teams. And they are project-based models, often only create language awareness rather than language proficiency through the whole community. Because of the nature of funding and resources, language revitalization has commonly been approached in terms of projects instead of plans, where a language plan includes a broad range of projects that are needed to revitalize the language. It integrates all programs into a bigger strategic plan, creating a more sustainable approach. It is long-term, it maps out multiple years of language work, and it lays out multiple language projects and programs to build on each other in a strategic way. It is collaborative and supports revitalization across the whole community, including partners and households, and it is comprehensive and informed by community to achieve a shared vision. It is guided by cultural values and community needs rather than by funders' agendas. The goal is to support communities to move from a project-by-project model towards an integrated plan-based model. These plans will be comprehensive and long-term in duration for the revitalization and strengthening of a language. And a language plan shifts communities from reacting to language loss to proactively building future for language vitality. So why develop a language revitalization plan? Why is it important? Planning ahead now will help secure the future of language generations to come. Language planning helps ensure the sustainability and growth of a language over time, and it helps us organize resources and efforts in a way that supports long-term success. So there are many benefits to developing a language revitalization plan. To build capacity, it helps establish a strong language team. With a language plan, you can directly address challenges at the community level, like program stability, turnover, and training that are needed for capacity development. A language revitalization plan is important to honor the work that was done before us, identifying what's already happening to support language revitalization in the community and what still needs to be done. LRP is a chance to review the language work that has already been done, take stock of the resources that have been created, understand the current language landscape, and identify gaps, barriers, and needs so that we can build and find opportunities for moving forward. LRP helps to guide the work to come and nurture proficiency. It brings community members together to identify a shared vision and goals. It builds community awareness of language while also building proficiency and increasing language learners and speakers. A language plan helps to monitor progress and ensure growth. It monitors progress towards language revitalization goals, ensures that language projects build on each other to achieve language revitalization, and ensures growth so that there is accountability. LRP is also a way to gather support of community leadership and key people. LRP is also a way to gather support from community, generate support from leadership and other key people such as partners or funders. LRP validates the importance of the community's language and revitalization. It demonstrates capacity to attract other resources and funding, and a well-thought-out plan tells governments, funders that communities are the experts of their own language, and again provides a powerful tool for fundraising. A plan-based funding model will empower communities to set their funding agendas that match their goals and to advocate for long-term strategic investments. It can be hard to know where to begin with LRP, and you might be wondering where to find supports and resources. FPCC is more than a funder. We offer resources, training, and tools to support you with strategic planning. When you choose to commit to developing a language revitalization plan, FPCC will support you through the strategic planning cycle to develop a plan that fits your community's needs. We offer a guide for you to take what works for your community so that it is a self-determined process. The strategic planning cycle might look like something like this, depending on where you're at. This is just a guide. So in the pre-planning phase, you will prepare by establishing your language planning team and reviewing where you're at. In the planning phase, you will look to grow through goal setting. In the pre-implementation phase, you will harvest funding, support, and resources to implement the plan. And in the implementation phase, you will celebrate and start the plan with community. It is important to remember that you will be engaging community members and gathering input throughout each phase of this process. When selecting LRP as a strategy, you will spend the next year of your grant developing a language revitalization plan. At the end, you will have a 3, 5, or even 10-year language plan, depending on your community's goals. It should include some key components to achieve your language goals. So establishing a language planning team it should include values to root the planning culture, a language profile to understand the language landscape, and a vision statement to guide the work. It should also include goals to help achieve that vision, including strategies, actions, and projects that all work towards those goals. It should include indicators to monitor and evaluate your progress, as well as an implementation plan with a year-by-year summary or a timeline to detail how this work will be carried out. And it should also include a budget to gather diversified funding sources to accomplish the plan. The Language Revitalization Planning Toolkit is online, and it's our #1 tool that you will use. It was developed by FPCC to support Indigenous communities to create their own language revitalization plan. The toolkit offers instructions, examples, and templates for a community-based planning process, and it is a free website open for anyone to use, and you can use it to help prepare your grant application as you're preparing for LRP. The LRP toolkit includes 4 sections. Part 1 is Introduction to Language Revitalization Planning. Part 2 is creating a language revitalization plan where it guides you through that strategic planning cycle. Part 3 is planning tools for engaging community, templates and examples that you can adapt so that you don't have to start from scratch. And Part 4 is additional resources so we can connect you with other language planners and see what other communities are planning. So how can you prepare for LRP? Developing a strategic language plan is an important step in accessing plan-based funding at the flourish level. If you're applying for RISE, Roots, or Grow level funding, what is needed to do LRP, and what are we looking for in the grant application? Consider these questions when you apply for the Language Vitality Grant. Where is your team at with language revitalization? What place in the strategic planning cycle are you starting from? What language revitalization work are you building on? And what do you hope to accomplish by developing a language plan? And where is your team at with staff capacity? Do you have a language planner or an assistant? Do you have someone in mind? Does your team have the capacity to take on language planning, or will that need to be a goal that we can support you with? Are there any existing language advisory groups, or do you need to create one? And where is your team at with community support? Are community members involved, included, or represented in your application to show that the community will be involved in the language planning process? Does the community have awareness, engagement, or participation in support of language? Is there existing support from leadership or management that's key to carry out this work? And are important community and partners ready to collaborate? And are there previous community consultations and strategic planning processes that you can build on? Having a good understanding of where you're at right now will help you demonstrate your readiness for LRP. And in your application, consider it like a work plan of how you will lay out a good plan for action to carry out LRP. You can scan this QR code to be taken to the Language Grant Funding Guide for more details and to review the funding requirements. It's a good idea to review the funding requirements. So we have 4 funding levels: Flourish, Grow, Roots, and Rise. And here's kind of how the language revitalization plan plays into that. Language teams wishing to apply for Flourish funding must have a completed strategic language plan. Flourish applicants must complete a language vitality grant application in addition to submitting their final community-based language plan. A Flourish application alone is not the same as a community-wide strategic language revitalization plan. The language vitality program application can be thought of as the implementation plan or a work plan as a portion of the overall language plan for the whole community. The full language plan should be complete, not in draft format, spans 3 or more years, including the years covered by the application. It should include vision, goals, objectives for language, covering the different strategies, working towards those goals, and maybe even goals that go beyond the scope of the FPCC grant and what FPCC can provide. And it should have an evaluation and monitoring process and a budget for how to carry out that work. If you do not have a fully complete language plan for Flourish level, then you may wish to apply for Grow level funding. Grow applicants are required to develop a language revitalization plan, whether that's continuing to work on a plan that's already in development, or renewing an old language plan, or developing a new one. You may submit a draft plan with your application if available, and you are expected to develop a complete strategic language plan as part of the FPCC grant. This funding is suitable for groups that have begun or are about to begin the process of developing a language plan with their community. Grow applicants are required to include 2 or more strategies, including language revitalization plan development, and have received 9 or more language grants from FPCC over the last 5 years. And they should have a core project team of 2 or more people and at least 1 staff member dedicated full-time to the delivery of the project. And they should also demonstrate at least 1 active partnership with another department, organization, or community that will be contributing to the language plan. For language teams applying to Roots or Rise funding, LRP is not required, although you are welcome to select language planning as the main focus of your application. If you are in the early stages of developing a new plan, it is always a good idea to get a head start if you need to start building your capacity for LRP. Rise and Roots applicants do not need to have a plan, though. So just one last reminder before we close the session. Developing a language plan will support you to access funding not only from FPCC, but also from other funders and supporters. And it goes beyond FPCC. A community-based language revitalization plan will help achieve your community's goals for the future of your language. Thank you so much for watching this webinar. I hope you found it helpful, and please reach out if you have any questions at all.